is wrong with you? Let's talk about something, shall we? What's up, OPEX? So, I was just passing through Des Moines, Iowa, and I thought to myself, I've never seen a downtown in Des Moines before, and I've passed through it a million times. I've, driven around it, through it, etc., and I've just never seen a downtown. Not that was relatively important, but, because I could have never seen the downtown. But then it made me think, I've seen towns that were a quarter of the size of Des Moines, even less, probably like a tenth of the size of Des Moines, a fourth, we'll go with a fourth, that actually had downtowns. And it led me to think, what creates a downtown? Like, what creates infrastructure and power and money and stability and jobs into a given area? Because once upon a time, all places were towns. They weren't huge, gigantic downtowns in Atlanta and Chicago and LA and New York. They weren't, once upon a time, all huge infrastructures. So I started to think, what creates these infrastructures? Is it government? Is it wealth? Wealthy people coming in and trying to change things? So I went a little bit further, but not much further, because I just passed Des Moines like 4 or 5 minutes ago, and then I plugged in this video. So I want to go through this thought process with you that I have, and of course I'm conspiracy minded, so let's dive into my conspiracy thoughts. Of course, this is all in my head. I've never heard anybody say this before. Maybe you can look on YouTube or Google. Maybe somebody thought about this before. I don't know. Most people don't think like me, so it's not something that would be well thought of. All right, so let's dive into it. I'm thinking about what would create a small town into a big town of wealth and jobs and prosperity. People coming from other towns to go here so they can find these better jobs and create a bigger population and a bigger boom in society and economics. So I don't believe it's as much as government as it would be somebody wealthy. Government has almost nothing to do with it. Almost. But wealth, somebody with $1 million, let's say 200 years ago, can come in and create a huge city. Lots of jobs. And then it makes me think, okay, if somebody with $1 million 200 years ago can come in and just change the fabric of society, create a huge boom in the economy. Not that everyone had $1 million. In fact, it was so rare it's not even funny. But if you really compare it to today, everyone almost has $1 million. Not everyone, you know what I mean. $1 million isn't shit now. If you went into a small town with $1 million, you can get a few jobs, a handful, but not like hundreds or even thousands of jobs, let alone probably hundreds of thousands of jobs that you could have had 200 years ago, or even 100 years ago, that $1 million could have done. So the primary purpose of people doing this, going into a small town, putting down money, and creating a huge boom in the economy, lots of jobs, everybody's happy, everybody's wealthy, was because it provided them return, right? So they would get money, resources, and power in return. Very crucial stuff, and stuff you need to understand. So just because you were rich would make you able to change a huge section of the economy and create jobs and create infrastructure and create a boom of wealth. Because now wealth is distributed on all sorts and to all people. Even the poor people would have an aspect of retaining or receiving money. So think about it for a second. So the motivation would be to create power, create strength, create an infrastructure, something that you can control. You control a city. That is considered power. Today, you can't just do that. So if we think about the differences between today and back then, we look at it as two factors, two main factors. Economy, inflation. Economy's going down, inflation's going up. So when we look at these two factors, we look at how the economy's going down. The economy's going down because, well, nobody has the money or resources that can make a big change in this economy because of inflation, right? So $1 million back then isn't $1 million now. Minimum wage in 1960 was $1. And just in the last 57 years, $1 went to $8. So there's $8 more money to the minimum wage area. Let alone, buying a house in 1960 was like $10,000. Now it's, those $10,000 houses back then is worth almost $200,000 now, which is about 20 times. So if the average person is making 8 times more, due to inflation, you're actually making about 8 times less. But due to inflation, you're making 8 times more. And the houses and everything around you so much more. Houses is 20 times. Gas in 1960 was like 30 cents per gallon or a quarter a gallon. I think a quarter a gallon. Now it's $2.50 a gallon. So it's not that much off. It's like 10 times. It is 10 times the amount. So it's not like everything's at an unequal way because people are making less in this economy, and the purchases that they have to make, RG&E, electric, come on, everything just went up. I know people that spend $500 a month on their electric bill, which is outrageous. Back in the day, it would be $1, all right? $2, $2.50, $3, $4.50, 50, 60, 70 years ago, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there because I've been told by the older folk that $500, I used to pay $250 when I was 18 or whatever. The old folk. So inflation's been going up, economy's been going down. People aren't making as much money. Therefore, because the economy's going down, the millionaires aren't able to make as much money. And I know a lot of people think millionaires, man, they're more wealthy than before. No, just because there's more millionaires today doesn't mean that they're getting richer. The millionaires aren't really getting richer. They're just making it by. Their businesses and stuff are being taxed at like a 40-50% level when you're getting taxed at what, 25% level? Something like that. So they're actually spending a lot more money. It costs more money through government now for these millionaires to hire people. So there's 3 factors. I'm sorry, I didn't think about it. Government is one of them. Economy and inflation. So people, somebody that's wealthy and became millionaires on their own, entrepreneurship, etc., and was outside the club but ended up making a lot of money, cannot do the same damage in the economy now in a positive light as, let's say, they could have 100 years ago. So they can't just create a downtown. They can't just put their money, like if you were from rags to riches, let's say, you still can't, through your riches, make a dent into society that you could have 100 years ago. And so I'm going to get to a conclusion. So I look at it in a very conspiracy mindset. Back then, people had more power. If you were smart, intelligent, able to use your resources correctly, you were good with numbers, you were smart, you were ambitious, and you had the ability to fabricate wealth on your own, well, imagine that this person 100 years ago could have even took it a step further and created a huge infrastructure from a small town and created a lot of jobs in that town and done a lot of good for the economy and for people in a free market capitalist society. Free market capitalist type society, which we were 100 years ago. This is before huge amounts of government regulation, before the economy started to plunder, which is generally a result from the other two. And the government, I already said the government, and the inflation went up. So your money isn't as much anymore. In the economy, it doesn't even matter because the economy sucks, and the government's taxing you out the yin-yang. So you don't have the power as a wealthy person anymore that you would have had the power 100 years ago. So let me show you or explain to you my thought process on this. If the elite can still, like George Soros, he's the big example because we all know about him, and he can just throw billions of dollars everywhere, right? And change, have radical change in a society, generally for the negative, not to create jobs or wealth in a society. It's always negative. So these elitists now, the ones with billions of dollars or something that can bring some radical change positively into our society, are not spending their resources to help us while the population is growing, while the economy's slowing down, and while inflation's on the rise, while government's fucking us all. These people aren't helping us, which they would have done, not them specifically, but the average person could have done if they were able to reach that type of wealth to change society. But $1 million isn't shit now. It's just a handful of jobs, right? If, it depends on what you're going for, etc. You could get 10, 15, 20 jobs out of it if you do it a specific way, or even more. But the point is that I'm trying to get at is that I see a precision attack against any type of power, not just in our country, but in the world, where $1 million isn't shit anymore. $10 million isn't shit anymore. $100 million might help a town, right? A small town to create wealth in that town. But who has $100 million? Almost nobody. And that's what it would basically take. About $100 million is about that starting threshold of being able to make radical change. It's not going to create in Atlanta that's worth like $1 trillion. I don't know, 100 billion at least. To create that necessary change. Power. That's the important key. So people cannot achieve power these days. An average person like you or I cannot achieve power. So in the land of the free, we are stuck and condensed to a powerless structure. We are never meant to succeed. Watch my video on millennials. It's probably still my favorite video I've ever created. Watch my video on millennials. It's gotten way less views than it should have. And you'll understand the paradigm between capitalism, socialism, the problems of society today in the new millennial generation. Definitely check out that video. Again, it's my favorite video. Not enough views. Not enough people are awake to this. So what I'm thinking now is that the elite have stopped us through three factors: inflation, the economy, and government. These three things are keeping us down where we cannot provide any power or change. Government doesn't respond to the people. And if they did, in a positive light, wow. But they don't. Because we don't have the wealth that the big corporations, that the elitists have. We don't have that. And because the elites have this, and they don't use this for our benefit whatsoever, we are stuck in a paradigm where our economy is going to keep crashing, our inflation is going to keep going up, and the government regulation is just getting worse by the day. We are not able to be we're not able to be prosperous. That was the right word. We're not able to be prosperous in this life and create power, stability, make changes in the economy. We can't do this as average people these days. We can't do it. And the rich among us, the millionaires among us, can't do shit. So the elite have created something that was specified to become this way, or specifically meant to become this way, to take away your potential of power. Because you're not going to have any power in 2017. It's not going to happen. 100 years ago, sure, you could have slipped through the radar, had some money, created a nice city, and provided a lot of jobs, a boom in society, etc. through a free market capitalist type society. Today, not possible. It's just not possible. And I would like your thoughts on this. Are we designed, is the Matrix designed to keep us a slave? Obviously. But I want to know your comments, your understanding, your thoughts from this. Because again, I don't hear this from anybody. And I look at conspiracy shit. Like, I just heard today that, I don't want to dive into conspiracies like that. We'll use those at another video, another time. I'm a conspiracy-minded person. But generally speaking, my conspiracies do not derive from other minds. My conspiracies derive from my mind. I'm not creating new conspiracies, but I am understanding the realities of the Matrix and what's going on. So, let me know what you think. Am I crazy? Am I a fool? Or am I onto something? Let me know. See ya.